Coach Bella, from being a student athlete previously with UCR, what was the transition like from making the jump from student athlete to now, like through the coaching ranks and now to the head coach position?
At each level that I've been through, it's been different. It's shown its share of challenges, but it's been a learning experience with every jump, and that goes from like my freshman year as a student athlete to my senior year as a student athlete, and then my first year coaching to now. My first year coaching, I had an idea of what I was supposed to do, and then when I got here, reality hit, and it was like completely different. I just kind of thought like you just like walk into the gym and it's like, all right, today we're just gonna work on this, this, and this. And it was like, no, there's a lot of thought that goes into like what it is that you need to work on with the players, or like you need to do some background homework and do some investigation on like how to teach a drill or what it is that you want to get out of a drill. And then so my first year was just, I was doing a small part of that in terms of just working with the guards. And then now it's like I'm overseeing every position. So I have to be on it with guard workout, with the forwards workout, with the post workout, with the offense, with the defense, like with everything. So it's just every level I've just grown more and more with my understanding and knowledge of the game.
Do you guys have like a pre-game routine that you like do, and then is there like a certain song or certain like playlist that you guys have?
I do have a playlist, yeah. like a pre-game playlist. I just put it like in my car when I leave to the game, and then I listen to it when I get to the gym. Yeah.
What songs?
Oh, I mean, it's just different songs,
Different
like energetic songs, you know. I think it was like to Beyonce, like rap. I don't know. Yeah.
What is it, like Jalen has a playlist?
Oh yeah, we have a
for
playlist
Seyram.
for like Seyram, yeah.
How do you guys try to balance being a student with being an athlete? Like you have to go through like class and you take midterms too, just like us. But then you also have to practice and do weights and prepare for games and everything. So how do you guys try to balance that?
I would just say like time management, honestly. Like you have to like find a time for each. Like I have to find a time to study all the time, find a time like to come in extra shoot or like, and then practice. Obviously you have practice every day, so it's like you have to really balance like your assignments when they're due, plan ahead.
Yeah, just be organized.
Yeah.
Are there like study hours where you guys like study on the bus or something, or like you
Well, we don't, luckily I haven't had to like designate study hours because they're really good about just pulling out their laptops or their books or whatever, and they do their assignments, whether it's on the bus, in the airport, in the hotel. In fact, when we played in Hawaii this past year, we had to be out of our hotels by a certain time, and the game was later that evening. So we were in a big meeting room, or a ballroom, and while we were in there, like they're having like study sessions, like some of them are working on math assignments and then others are like preparing for a midterm or whatever the case is, but like everybody had a laptop open and they were doing some type of an assignment except one person who was just taking a nap. But it was pretty cool to see like they are taking advantage of any time they have to put towards studying, and they're like, you don't have to ask them to do it, they do it on their own.
Do you guys have any favorite NBA or WNBA players? Like that you guys model your game after, or just like to watch on TV?
I don't watch a lot of basketball on TV, but I like one team, the Chicago Sky in WNBA. Yeah, I like their team.
Yeah, I like Damian. She plays on that team, Diamond the Shield. She's my favorite player. And who else? I like Damian Lillard. He's my favorite.
I like Dame too. I like Giannis is my favorite player. But.
Okay. What's Sapi's Greek? She has a connection, the Greek connection.
The Greek.
Yeah.
Coach.
You don't want to know who my favorite player
Oh,
is?
okay. Sorry, Coach. Who's your favorite player?
I have two. I like a lot of people, but my two favorites, Jordan and Kobe. I really love them. Growing up, those were my role models. I at least think I tried to emulate their game. I was as successful as I thought it was.
Coach, with being a former student athlete, what kind of connections does that allow you to have with your players?
I think it's a big connection that I get to have with them because I understand it from their perspective. I understand what it's like to have to study the night before, and I understand what it's like to have a really big game and be able to, like, I can relate to them in terms of like, hey, you could try this approach because like we were just talking about playing overseas, like because I went through those same paths. So I feel like I have some inside information I could share with them just being a student athlete that played here. So I know what it takes to like, or I know who to talk to in terms of like if there's an assignment or something you need to do. I'm like, hey, go talk to your professor, go to office hours, or like if we want to get transcripts, like, oh yeah, you go here and you can find the transcripts there just because I'm familiar with this area. But yeah, I think it's crucial, especially since we run the same offense that I played in. So I just kind of have inside information that I can help them with.
Being from France, what was like the biggest cultural difference coming from France to the United States? Or was there any like major adjustment at all? Or did you like seamlessly fit right in once you came here?
Well, at first it was language. Because when I was in school in France, we were on like British kind of English, you know? So when I came here, I was just like, oh, this is not the same. Like I couldn't understand anything. But then, I don't know, it was, I mean, I liked it here, so it was just like, I felt good here, yeah.
And then you have a few French teammates too. Do you guys like always talk in French and then like the other teammates don't know what you're saying?
Yeah, it happens. It happens in games too. Like sometimes we just, like at the free throw line, we just talk and the other player's like, and just, yeah, it's fun to do that sometimes, so you can like be discreet.
Yeah, I think like I heard a story like Kobe learned French to like trash talk Tony Parker. Because there's like Luka Doncic too also, like Mavericks were playing a game and then like Doncic was like at the baseline or the sideline, he's like about to inbound and then he hears someone behind him talking in Slovenian, trash talking him, and it's Kobe. Yeah, Kobe would learn like different languages to trash talk people.
That's Kobe would.
Yeah, like how was your philosophy into incorporating the player? And try to form some sense of unity?
In all honesty, like in the terms of like recruiting, I'm big on like bringing people that fit in as athletes and as people. So like you could be an exceptionally good player, but if you're like, you're not a good person, so to speak, like it doesn't mesh well with the vibe that we have here, the culture we're trying to create here. So I think like Marina, I wasn't in this position when I was recruiting her, but still like approaching it, it was Marina fit all the categories that we were looking for in a student athlete here. She did well academically, she was skilled athletically, and then her and her family were just really good people. They were what we want to embody as our Highlander family. So that approach is the approach we use to go and recruit anybody, whether it's international or domestic players. But I really think like, because we recruited her sister too, but I really think they just have a good background in like their upbringing, like how their parents raised them is a good reflection of like what we want here at UCR.
Did coach, or maybe too, did you give them any specific workouts or training to prepare for the season? I think the guys, they did like UFC training before the season. Did you have anything similar? Or?
No, again, because of the timing in which it played out, we couldn't, so we just kind of like jumped right into basketball workouts. But for the future, I am definitely looking at some pretty creative workout opportunities. I heard Muay Thai is pretty good, so I don't know, it's a possibility.
About how many hours a week do you guys spend practicing, and how many hours do you spend at the gym, like working out, doing weights or cardio? Or
well, we have like 2 hours of practice a day, and then 2 times a week we have an hour of lifting. And then every day we have like an hour of film, so
So they're allowed 20 hours. We're allowed 20 hours a week with them, and that includes 2 games a week. But they are really good about getting in the gym on their own and shooting on their own. Like us coaches can't be with them during that time, but they find a way to get some extra shots up. So it's kind of the same approach into you would take into studying for like a midterm or a final. Like you're gonna do some additional studying. So they're doing some additional studying in the gym and they're getting extra shots up, or whatever the case is, if they're working on ball handling, whatever it is. But they do a good job of putting in extra time to get better in basketball too.
During the basketball season, is there like a certain diet that you guys like to maintain? Because like I know being an athlete, you have to not eat unhealthy like I do. So
They still eat unhealthy.
It happens. I feel like Marina and Daphne are healthy.
Yes.
They're like the healthiest, I would say. All the foreign people, they're more healthy than the Americans. But yeah. I don't know.
Marina's pretty good about like meal prepping, and she's also like she's kind of on a strict diet.
Well, I'm vegetarian, so yeah, I'm trying to like meal prep as much as I can because we're like busy and stuff. So sometimes you're just lazy when you come home, you don't want to cook or anything. So that's why you like go to fast food and stuff. So I try to like be ready and meal prep. So when I go home, I can just eat whatever.
What do you usually like to prep?
Honestly, I like a lot of things, so it
She's a
depends.
chef. She was my roommate. So like whenever she's at home, like I'll come home, be smelling good. She makes everything. She bakes too. She bakes everything. She's a chef.
Team voted and said she's the best cook on the team. Even though Lauren thinks otherwise. So we're gonna have a cook-off to determine who's the best chef on the team. Yeah.
And how much sleep do you guys usually like to get before a game?
Well, depends when you have to study and stuff. It's harder, but I try to get like 8 hours.
8 hours.
That'll be like good.
Yeah, on game days for sure. But like, what is it? The Big West tournament is like usually during finals week, so that's like the hardest week because like it's the tournament and like classes. So you're trying to like do your homework wherever you can, like on the bus, like she said. And it's like, because you want that sleep. The sleep is so important, So you're trying to do like fit it in anywhere you can. So yeah, it's tough.
And what do you guys do to motivate yourselves when you're tired or you feel like you want to quit or something? How do you like keep yourself going and just keep pushing forward?
Well, I guess we help each other like as a team. So we when it's during practice or like when we're in the locker room, we just like talk amongst each other and we like try to like lift each other's spirit, I guess.
What do you guys want to do after? I don't know if you guys discussed this yet, but what is something that you want to do after college? Would you want to pursue a professional career in basketball, or would you want to go into coaching, or you can join our side, you can do broadcast journalist, or would you want to do something like completely outside of basketball or athletics?
Yeah, I want to play professionally for like a little bit if I can, just to see how it is. Like probably play overseas just to like travel while you can, But after that, I don't really know yet. Like I'm not sure. But
yeah, same. I want to play. I mean, if I can, a little bit, and then we'll see.
Coach, so I understand that it's like a full-term commitment for you. After like any given season ends, what is your kind of process after that? Do you kind of take some time off, or do you go straight ahead into planning the next season?
Both. I would like to just take a little time just to, like regroup and because this season is a lot. You're always going. If you're not practicing, you're playing games. If you're not playing games, you're practicing, or you're preparing for the next opponent. So I would like to take a couple days just to like de-stress for a second, and then jump right back into planning because we have postseason. Well, not postseason. We have off-season training that we got to prepare for. We have summer workouts that we have to prepare for, and then we get right back into preseason and then season, and we have recruiting and camps, and so we got a ton of stuff to prepare for. So just like a weekend to relax would be good.
Kind of just take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's it really helps because they have good staff that they're like on it. They're constantly like bringing up new ideas and like different ways or creative ways that we can like execute our plan. But it would be nice for all of us to just take a minute to just step away so we could come back in 100% energized.
As a team, what's your bond like outside of basketball itself?
We have a pretty good relationship with everybody. We usually like do stuff outside of basketball, like we went bowling for your birthday. Yeah, it was fun. Sometimes we go like eat. Like
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this team's really close actually. I don't know, like years previous it's been like some people are close, kind of cliques, but this year I feel like everyone's kind of like they're really close with each other.
They are a very close group. Just because I've seen so many different groups come through here, and even my teammates, we were close, but we had some kids that were like closer to each other. But for the most part, they are all close. They all know each other's business. They all like I'll go downstairs in the locker room before like film, and they're all like talking about like whatever outside of basketball or in basketball. They're just talking like amongst like sisters. So I think that's a really cool bond that they have, and you can see it on the court.
Yeah. Like a favorite moment or a favorite shot or a favorite game or something that stands out to you over the others.
Well, it's not over, so.
It's not over, but right now, so far.
Marina catching my air ball. That's my favorite moment.
You'll pass. Yeah. I feel like there's gonna be like a lot more coming up. We still have some games. So yeah, looking forward for that.